Hello everybody, how are you guys? I'm doing well. So welcome to the second last video of the Mars series, Mars in Aquarius, as it is written in the title. And then Mars in Pisces will come out soon. But I don't know if this shit is bright enough, so I bought a new ring light, which is great. It's so great, so amazing. But it's not as big as the first one I've had. So I don't know if the lighting is really giving. I feel like it's not, but okay, whatever, it's fine. It's okay, it'll do. It'll have to do because I already purchased it. It's not like my money can go back now. Anyway, guys, welcome to this video. Welcome Mars and Aquarius people to this video. Of course, before we begin, do the things. Go follow me on IG, on TikTok. Okay, so IG first. Okay, and then TikTok. Okay, cool. And also go follow and subscribe to my other yoga YouTube channel that I have established. I have 15 videos on there and I have to start doing them again. But, anyway, but go subscribe and follow that. So when you go subscribe to that YouTube channel, there's a link for that IG. There's a lot. And then also a link for that TikTok. So just do yourself a favor, do me a favor as well, and just go follow and subscribe to all of them. Anyway, okay, let's just get straight into Mars and Aquarius. What is Mars? Mars is your fuel. Mars is your passion. Mars is your instinct, your quick instinct that you have whenever you get triggered to feel something, right? So your feelings are usually your moon sign, so you feel something, right? And sometimes when you feel something, you can act on it, right? But then what is the thing fueling those actions? What is the intention? So actually two things fuel your actions: your emotions and then also your intentions, right? But then I feel your intentions are fueled from what you feel, because if you feel let's say you have a crush on someone, right? You could have intentions or even desires, because Mars rules over desires. But you could have a desire to want to make out with them or date them, you know what I'm saying? Because of how you feel. And then whether you act on it or not, that'll be dependent on your sun sign, So for example, you could have a crush on someone and then you feel that way. Then it's in your Venus and it's in your moon, right? And then you get to the Mars sign. So it's two ways where your Mars can act out in this situation when you like someone. You will have the desire to do something, right? And you also have the desire to want something to happen, right? But you may not actually act on it, which is your sun sign. You may not do anything about it. It may just stay being a desire, right? But if you do eventually act on it, right, the intention will be fueled from your Mars sign, right? Because you want your desire to be met, and your desire is to be cute with whoever you have a crush on, or maybe have a situationship with them, or whatever it is that you do with them. That's the Mars of it, because the intention is there, So not only is Mars dealing with your desires, but it's also dealing with energy. And because your sun sign is your actions and how you're doing the thing, but then the Mars is the thing that's giving your sun energy to do it, the thing that's encouraging your sun to do the things. Because a lot of times, depending on your sun, if you have a debilitated sun, a Libra sun, or what else is debilitated, Aquarius sun or something, you may not actually act on your desires or act on your instincts, because it could just be in your head, in your corp, and you don't just you could just live and not do anything about it. Do you know what I'm saying? But Mars is essentially the thing that's fueling your actions, but it's also your sexual desires, because desires can be filtered through many different spectrums. It could be a sexual desire, it could be a desire to whatever, some selfish shit though. And once again, Mars is dealing with selfish things, because desires are not think of whatever desires you have, it has nothing to do with anybody else, or sharing something, not sharing something, but your desires don't have anything to do with anybody else. Usually when you have desires, it's to fulfill your own personal shit. And Mars rules over the first and the second house, and it's exalted in the 10th house, and those houses are more personal, selfish, not trying to share it with anybody else. type houses, especially the first house, because the first house is the house of me, myself, the personality, how the relationship that you have with yourself. The eighth house deals with like things of the first house, but more secretive. So like if the first house is like your personality and personal goals and personal desires that you have that you don't mind other people knowing, then the eighth house is those things, but you do mind people knowing them. So you don't want people to know them. You don't want people to be in your business knowing what it is that you personally desire, because a lot of the times the things that we personally enjoy and personally desires may be like very taboo, aka eighth house, or very occult like, aka eighth house, like, yeah, just think of anything occultic or taboo vibe, like that energy. Even like, when you go poop a lot of the times, or like ladies, when you go poop, or hetero, let me say hetero ladies, not everybody, but like hetero ladies, when you go poop and you don't want your man to know that you're pooping, so then you're doing that action in secret. Yeah, that's eighth house shit, or if ladies in lesbian relationship, women WLW WLW relationships, right? Like, you wouldn't want your girlfriend to what's the word, I don't know, like, let's say you secretly still like want to be with your ex, I guess that's a desire, like you secretly want to be with your ex, but you're with this new girl, so you keep that desire to yourself, because you don't necessarily want to share that desire, like, because Mars is not necessarily a sharing sign, like a sharing planet. That's where we get to Venus and the moon, and even the sun low-key, and Mercury low-key, and Jupiter low-key, and not Saturn though, because Saturn is all about preservation, but we're gonna get there because we are speaking about Mars and Aquarius. But like, just generally overall, like Mars is just like your personal desires, your intentions, your passions, what it is that you're passionate about, and how you go about. Like, also Mars is a really great, like, if you are feeling unmotivated, like, look to your Mars sign, and a lot of the times, like, when you're actively doing your Mars sign, you'll feel yourself having a lot more energy, because Mars is also the thing that gives us energy, which is why a lot of debilitated Mars people don't have a lot of energy, aka I'm talking to you, boom, Mars and Taurus, Libra, Cancer, even Pisces low-key, but yeah, guys, that's Mars. And then Aquarius, so Aquarius is ruled by the 11th house, but actually first it's an air sign, right? It's fixed air, meaning it's fixated on its own air, thoughts, communication, analysis, calculations, you know what I'm saying? It's also ruled by the 11th house of associates, groups, networkings, socials, like large social groups, the internet, social media, you know what I'm saying? What else? The unknown, the unfamiliar, information that is unknown, information that is unfamiliar, scientists, scientific shit, technology. That's the 11th house. And then it's ruled by Saturn and co-ruled by Uranus. So Saturn rules over what? Discipline, preserving your shit. Stability, long-term stability, longevity, sustaining the resources that you have so that you can survive comfortably and securely for long term. It rules over discipline, learning and teaching how to discipline yourself, boundaries and restrictions for other people and for yourself, authority, it rules over the government, it rules over like worldly governments also, like how the world is constructed, and like creating order for every country that we have. That's Saturn vibes, and then when we mix all of that, like we have Aquarius, these are the people. So actually, like when we meet, like when all of those things meet together to form the Aquarius sign, this is why Aquarius people, because of the 11th house, they are good at making connections with anybody, but their Saturn is more so. And also, I forgot to say Uranus before I continue with that. Uranus rules over, rebelling, uniqueness, eccentricities, changes that happen in the world, global changes, demographics, the different demographics. It rules over, I'd also say it rules over, kind of like Sagittarius in the 9th house, it rules over like different languages, but I would say the 9th house more so rules over like the ethnicity and the cultures, but I would say 11th house rules over different languages, You know what I'm saying? Like unfamiliar languages, like just the many different languages, basically. Yeah, what else? Uranus. But Uranus basically just rules over the masses. It also rules over the sudden changes that happen in the world, sudden changes in reformations, kind of like Pluto, but reformations that happen in ourselves, in the world. Just sudden things that happen, sudden changes. Electricity also. Uranus rules over electricity. So in a way, it's low-key kind of like a fiery sign, because if you think about it, electricity is like a different form of fire. So like Aquarius is like the fire sign of the air signs, but like I feel like it's the earth signs of the air signs. I don't know, but I feel like that's also why Aquarius is so unique. And also, as I said, Uranus rules over uniqueness, individuality, kind of like the first house in Aries, like individuality, but like kind of how you can differentiate yourself from the collective conscious, like the collective, because Aquariuses deal with the collective. But as going back to what I was saying is that Aquariuses they network with people, right? So that's their air sign. They can talk to many different people, and they can still stay like a Taurus. They'll still be stubborn and be grounded in their own thoughts, even though those thoughts will change over time, which we all know will. Those thoughts, every idea, opinion that they have changes over time. They're not like Tauruses where they'll stick to one thing and that'll be it, or even like Leos, like they could even lie to you in your face, but they will stick with that lie. Aquariuses change, like, and they know themselves, even though they're stubborn. Like it's like they're stubborn in the moment, and they're wholeheartedly going to stick with whatever opinion that they have in the moment. But tomorrow they'll change their opinion, but they'll still be stubborn to that opinion in the moment, and they will fight you over that opinion, even though we know and they know that we know that they will change their mind, but they're still going to be stubborn in those opinions. Obviously not everything, like not every opinion they're going to change, especially if it's like dealing with like, I guess, their morals and their beliefs. But I also feel like, look, I'm an Aquarius rising, and I can tell you that like my morals will change, but I think it's also just like a growing up thing. And obviously, guys, nothing ever stays the same. And I think this is also like an Aquarius chat. Like Aquarius was the one who came up with that thing of like, guys, nothing stays the same. You should not hold me accountable for being dependable, because I'm not. And I feel that. I really feel that. I feel you guys on that shit, because I mean, like, guys, things change. But anyway, Aquariuses experience their Saturn in a way of they like to, because they know how to socialize, like and you even find, like, think of any of your Aquarius friends or your friends who have like Aquarius placements. They know everybody, or somehow everybody knows them. Obviously, like, just because you know everybody doesn't mean you fuck with everybody. But Aquariuses can be like Capricorns, where they are users, because I mean Aquarius naturally has Capricorn in the 12th house, meaning that their unconscious self is very Capricorn like. So they will use their connections, right? Because they also have, as I say, Aquariuses also have that using mentality. It's just they're more chill and cool, bruh, and like so swag and like chill and like, oh yeah, hippie vibes, like humanitarian, let's save the dolphins, yeah, so you don't necessarily like pick it up as quickly as you would with like a Capricorn or like a Virgo or something, that they're using you. But like Aquariuses be users too, right? But they use their connections, because I mean, obviously, like, that's also how we live life in this world. Like, we need each other to survive, but I feel like I don't know what's the right way to go about like using people without making somebody feel used. Because I feel like if you are using someone, somehow you're gonna be used too, right? And you shouldn't mind being used as well. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Anyway, but Aquariuses be using too, right? They'll use their connections with people and their friendly nature with people to get from point A to point B. Because Aquariuses are also still, stable based, and also because they're a fixed sign, and all fixed signs have the thing that they are grounded and they know how to stay put in their own personality and stuff, and in their own opinions. They have a leg to stand on. They have a crutch. They are their own crutch. And they can be a crutch for others also, just because they have leadership skills. And I feel like that's the thing with all cardinal and fixed signs. Sorry to the mutables. We are not leaders. We are followers. And we are, anyway, but we're not talking about mutable signs. What was I saying, actually? But yeah, like, Aquariuses will use their connections for stability, right? like they'll know too many people, or they'll know a lot of people. Aquarius people are like the type of people that if you're friends with them, prepare to stop every 2 minutes and watch them greet the whole entire world. They are those people. But it's beneficial to also know people and have social skills, and this is how they use their Saturn, because whatever it is that you have, like Saturn is like, bro, whatever it is that you have, use that shit, and like let that shit help you so that you can be safe and secure your whole life. Because as I was gonna say, right, is that these are the people, Aquarius Mars, even Aquarius placements generally, these are people like they know how to socialize, and they know how to be like super friendly and cool with everybody. So, and they're like pretty neutral with everybody, like they're not too much of anything. Obviously if they have like Aries or Sagittarius placements, then it's different, but still, you know what I'm saying? Because they have that air quality, like they know how to socialize and get in, and like kind of meet new people and be cool with everybody. So in that way, like they can use whoever, or could connect with whoever, so that they can associate with those people or that person or those groups of people, so that they can be part of those groups, so that they can benefit from being in those groups. Do you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So Aquarius people, like for example, if they want to be, I don't know, if they want to be like an IT specialist, they will surround themselves with other IT specialist people, or I don't know, somehow like they will, somehow it's like with Aquarius people, like somehow they know how to, I guess, manifest being in specific groups that align with whatever goal that they have. And then they'll meet different people who can help them out with whatever they want to achieve long term, but I think the only negative part would be like, because Aquariuses and Capricorns are not necessarily like Cancers or Leos, where you can feel their warmth immediately and they care for you, even though they have drama, but like you'll feel that they have like a caring, nurturing quality, especially if you care about them first and you show them that you fuck with them first. Like Aquariuses are friendly, don't mind, like, don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. Like Aquarius people are very friendly. It's just like they're friendly to everybody. Like they treat everybody the same. Like they treat everybody with the exact same energy. Energy, vibe, temperament. Like everyone is just the same. Everyone has the same face. You get what you get. It is what it is, But the thing is, like, where their Saturn comes in, where they are restrictive, is like emotional connections. They don't really connect with anybody, Like they're not too emotionally there, and especially when people demand them to be, because naturally like Aquarius people will attract Leo type people, and this is also me speaking as an Aquarius rising. Like you attract Leo type people who want attention, people who have a big heart, yes, but people who are like very desperate for attention, and people who love attention, So Aquarius may also sometimes be like, the fuck, like, and because once again, because Aquarius treats everybody the same, like Leo type people want you to treat them like they're special and whatever, and a lot of the times you may encounter like having issues with people because they'll feel like, oh, you think you're better, or oh, you think you're cooler than everybody, which you also may really feel in your heart that you may be, but you won't say it out loud. But I feel like the guys would, especially if the guys have like a Leo moon, or like a Leo moon, could be Leo Venus, maybe if you have any Leo 5th house placements, for sure. Okay, but anyway, with that being said, so if you put Aquarius and Mars together, right, we get somebody who's passionate about, connecting with people. Somebody whose intentions are to connect with people, whose intentions are to be in large groups, you know what I'm saying? Just like Leo placements, like a lot of Aquarius placements get a lot of attention from people, especially online. Especially if they like start getting into YouTube or TikTok now, or IG, like, and they post videos of themselves and shit. Like it's very easy for them to like blow up, just as much as it is for Leos and Scorpios. Actually, I just learned that. Actually, but it's easy for them to be known by everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, because they're so cool with everybody and they're super chill, like they're not judgmental. That's the thing with Aquarius vibes, not judgmental, at least not even to your face. But I think it's also just like they're not judgmental to people in general. Like you guys are not judgmental to people in general, just because you're so like accepting of everybody. Like you're not somebody who's overly judgmental. Obviously if you have like Virgo placements, then that'll change. Or if you have Aquarius placements, or if you have Scorpio placements as well, that'll like be different. But generally, like Aquarius archetypes aren't necessarily judgmental. They're kind of just like observant. Like they're not participating in what humans are doing. Even actually, no, let me say this: they are participating while also being overly observant, which is why they're detached, because they're not looking at people in a way of like they are the main character. I don't think Aquariuses necessarily have like main character syndrome like Leos would be. Or maybe it's just different for Aquariuses, where they're kind of just like the cameraman. Like Aquariuses are like the cameraman, like they're just watching everybody, like they're just documenting everything. Like, okay, you guys do this. Like these group of people do this. These group of people do these, which is why they're like scientific. Aquarius placements are scientific because like as much as they observe everybody, they know like, okay, if I get into this social group, because I've been in another social group that had these scenarios playing out, I know exactly what's going on, so I know how to apply myself in a way that I can still kind of be in my own little bubble, but I can give just enough to, I guess, trick everybody, or not even trick, because it doesn't have to be like a trick, but I can give just enough to still be participating, still not necessarily be a main character, because I feel like Aquariuses don't really like, kind of like Geminis, where yes, like we like attention, but not too much. Like we're not like Leos in the way, like I say we, but okay, I'm including myself because I'm an Aquarius rising, so I really kind of feel it. Even though you guys are a little bit more, I guess, aggressive with this shit, this is just my personality. Like I'm personally like an Aquarius. I mean, even right now, I'm saying, yeah, you know what I'm saying, like that kind of shit. But you guys just know how to like observe yourselves and like observe not yourself, like just observe other people and know how much to apply yourself, and even know the right things to say to kind of trick people into like thinking that you're this kind of person, especially if you have like 8th house placements and you're still, because I feel like Aquariuses are like low-key a little bit like Scorpios in the way that they don't like to be figured out. Like they don't want anybody to intrude in their psychology and like know them and see their soul. Like that's so weird. Like that's very, like that's TP, like that's too personal, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to be knowing me like that. And I feel like Aquariuses are like that. So because they know how humans work, not know, like they not, obviously it's not like down to a T, but they're just very observant, and I guess maybe they understand like how to like present themselves, which is something that they would also share with Leos, because Leos are also all about like, if I can show myself to be like this, then people will see me like this. But Aquarius is also like that, but for different reasons, because Leo wants you to look at them like that, but Aquarius they just want to be looked at like that so that they can continue watching and experimenting, just observing, not necessarily being the main character. And if they are the main character, it's just for 2 seconds, because Aquarius is, once again, they need room. Like air signs need room to breathe, like they need, and all of that attention, sometimes it can, obviously, once again, like if you have this Aquarius Mars placement in the 5th house, very different, because you might actually enjoy that and that's your intention and shit, but like generally, like as an Aquarius Mars, like even like if you are funny, like you'd be like the supporting side character, like you're the supportive side character that the camera only sees here and there, and everybody secretly like is really obsessed or like they love you, kind of like Lexi from Euphoria. Like the show necessarily, like Rue was the main character, but we really fucked with Lexi, you know what I'm saying, because she was out there doing her own thing. She wasn't necessarily like where the camera was, like the intention wasn't necessarily to shine a light on Lexi's life, but we all fucked with Lexi, you know what I'm saying? Like Lexi was cool, she wasn't doing too much, we knew her story, she had an interesting story, but as we see, like she was the one observing everybody, and she made the whole play strictly out of the observations of like her friends and what her friends were doing, you know what I'm saying? Like that's some Aquarius shit, very, not necessarily cold, but even though like Aquarius Mars can be super cold, but that's just how the archetype is generally, and when you put it in Mars, like that's your intention. Like your intention is to observe, your intention is to connect with different people, your intentions are to be in different groups and different spaces where you can learn and observe different people and like how different people act and how different people are generally, and then a lot of the times you're also passionate about learning. Like you're really passionate about communicating with people, you're super passionate about like having mental, like all air Mars placements are sapiosexuals, and they're passionate about learning, they're passionate about intellectual stimulation, and this is what generally turns you guys on, smart people. But especially if you're born in my generation. So you will have your Mars in Aquarius conjunct Uranus in Aquarius, right? The nasty thing about this placement is your sudden anger bursts, your sudden bursts of anger. Kind of like Aries, but Aries, I guess Aries could be sudden as well. We could say Aries has sudden anger. We totally could say that, But I think with Aries, it's a lot more predictable because their fuse is pretty short, and anything that you could say could really piss them off. But with Aquarius, especially if you have like if you have this like conjuncting your Uranus, you guys are the ones, like, especially the girls. I'll say the girls are very tomboyish, right? Once again, if you're born in my generation, right? If you have Aquarius, if you have Uranus and Neptune in Aquarius, and then your Pluto's in Sagittarius, right? You're very tomboyish, very mask. Even if you are femme, like you're like a dom femme, like you have like a dom, I guess, not aggressive. We could say aggressive. Like, but you have like let's say a boyish vibe about you. You probably are the type of person to be like, I get along with dudes better than I do with girls, or some shit like that. But if you're born in a generation that has if you're born in like I'm trying to think. If you're born in a generation where Uranus was in Scorpio, which I think would be in like the early 1970s, I think, maybe, or like late. No, okay, because I know 1960s Uranus was in Virgo, right? And then when was Uranus in Scorpio? But that generation, if you're part of that generation when Uranus is in Scorpio, so then your Mars will square Uranus, then you have anger issues, babe, and you need to get that fucking checked. Yeah, you need to get that fucking checked, bro. You have severe anger issues. Anyone that has like Mars square or oppose, Mars oppose Uranus, or square, unali anger. Very aggressive person. But generally speaking, for people in my generation, like if you have Mars conjunct Uranus, like you also have sudden bursts of anger, sudden irritation, kind of like a Virgo, where like small things can irritate you, bog you up, and then the way that you will express your anger would be through your words, or detaching right? Because you will feel like stupid people could be like a thing that makes you nervous, especially like if you feel like you're asking simple questions and people like kind of act stupid, or like obviously like you'll know the difference between somebody acting stupid to be funny and hilarious, which you will probably participate in, especially if it's like witty kind of humor. But if it's like you're generally dumb, like you probably wouldn't like Taurus Mercury. Like I think Aquarius Mars people communicating with a Mercury and Taurus people who are kind of slow, or Mercury and Pisces, like they're a slow learner, or like they when they answer you, they kind of seem like they don't understand what's going on. That pisses you off because you're low-key kind of like a Sagittarius moon or sun or Sagittarius vibes, where like you'll feel like, okay, being around people who are not as fast mentally as me, they're holding me back, so I need to ghost these motherfuckers, or I need to escape, or I need to restrict my interactions with these people so that I don't have to associate with them. Because I think with every Aquarius placements don't mind. I think maybe when they're younger, like when you are in that bag of like, hey, I'm just carefree, I don't really mind which spaces I'm in because I can always still be myself, which you guys can. Like you guys can really be anyway. Like you can even be with a fucking hobo, a crackhead, a meth addict, but you will feel like, okay, I can still be myself, especially if you have Sagittarius placements with this. Like if you have like a Sagittarius, Mercury, or Mars, like you will feel like, okay, no, I can still be myself and be anywhere with anyone in the world. But to that I say, like, bro, like you don't have to associate with everybody, because I feel like Aquariuses and Pisces have the similarity in that like they can literally connect with anyone. Like they can connect with a fucking couch, with this pillow, they can connect with that, just Aquariuses will connect with it a lot more socially, Pisces a lot more emotionally, like deeply emotionally. But I think like in that sense, and this is also me speaking as an Aquarius rising, is that like we really shouldn't associate ourselves with just anybody, Like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And like, I also feel like a lot of the times, maybe Aquarius Mars, I know like 2 people with Aquarius Mars, and also I don't see them as much, which is another thing. You guys also only have like a few friends, like you have like 2 friends, like 2 best friends that you can really call homies, like these are my bitches, like these are my dudes for real. And then everybody else, you kind of just treat them the same. But here's the thing, like with Aquarius Mars, you guys like have this thing where you, because you're so social and friendly, and I also feel like this is just an Aquarius placement thing, because you guys are so friendly and like you guys can talk to anybody for hours, like because you're super great at analyzing people and being like, you kind of know who a person is just based on what they talk about, how they talk about some things, the things that they talk, like the topics they talk about. You can kind of size somebody up and be like, okay, you're this kind of person. So then, because obviously you're an observer, you know how to channel your own energy and then match whatever it is, like match their mentality, kind of like Libras do. Like, you know how to communicate with somebody and match them toe to toe mentally, and then like have a conversation with somebody and then make that somebody feel like, oh my god, like I finally met somebody that I understand, like I met somebody that's cool. And also, like, if you have these, if you have this shit in the 5th house, 3rd house, 7th house, 11th house, you're funny. So if you're funny but you're also relatable, like obviously people will kind of check themselves, and you're cool, you know what I'm saying, like you're super cool. So people obviously, and if you're beautiful, because I've never met anyone, actually no I have, but usually Aquarius placements like are really good looking, but like if you all of those things and you can like also socialize, like obviously people will feel like, damn, like, yo, this is my friend. And then people like want to be your friend all the time, and then this is how you get invited to different social settings. But like on where I'm trying to go is like somebody will think that, okay, like they're really emotionally connecting with you, and God forbid like you're with a Cancer or like a Pisces maybe, or like a Leo also, like, you make them feel like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna be friends now, like we're gonna really, like, you and me, it's like you and me type shit. But you're not there, like you're really just friendly, like, and you're doing that with everybody because you're like, what's this, you're like a serial, not serial dater, you're a homie hopper, you're a friend hopper, like you know how to associate with anybody. You just know how to associate with people. So you're an associate hopper. So everything that, and it could even be a thing of like, let's say you were speaking to somebody and you had a really good conversation because they were really funny. Like, let's say I'm the Mars and Aquarius person, right? And I'm speaking to somebody and they're really funny. Like, they're super funny and they're super cool. And the topics that they were talking about, I like that. Aquarius placements, kind of like Libras, they also know how to like jack that. They'll steal those jokes, and then they'll go apply that to somebody else type thing, because it goes both ways, it goes both ways. But yeah, a lot of the times, like Aquarius Mars people, like they're not trying to, like a Sagittarius, they're not there with you for a long time. Like, if they see you, it's what's up, but they're not trying to like know about your life. Like, they're not there with you. Like, not like that, especially if they didn't initiate that conversation. Like, and I feel like they usually won't, because a lot of the times Aquarius placements, like, they're also like very skeptical with who they're that vulnerable with, because they also know how wishy-washy they can be. Air signs are so wishy-washy, bro. Like, Aquarius placements, wishy fucking washy, you know what I'm saying? Very wishy-washy. They're not reliable. So if they were giving you vibes today, because also with Aquarius Mars, it's mind games. They're passionate about playing mind games with people, and if you can't keep up, they also might get pissed off at you for that, which is how you guys are narcissistic in that way. Or you have that's your narcissistic tendency, is thinking that everybody should think the way that you think, just because you think that the way you think is the best way of thinking. Even though, like, whenever sometimes you say things, like, people are really confused, especially if you have like a Mercury in Sagittarius sextiling your Mars in Aquarius, bro. Sometimes you say shit and people look at you like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, what does that even mean? But when you do, and if you have this combo, and if you're born in my generation, so your Mercury in Sag will conjunct your Pluto in Sag, sextiling your Mars and your Uranus and your Neptune in Aquarius, bro. Not only, like, sometimes when you say things, it sounds really weird and like off-putting and like shocking, but it's also like you're really rude sometimes. Like, you could be really, really fucking rude. Like, you're really obnoxiously rude and like hurtful, but you don't even maybe you might know that you're hurtful, especially if you're like a Sagittarius sun or moon with this shit, and obviously you're brutally honest, but you don't mind other people who are brutally honest. I feel like Aquarius placements, except Aquarius rising, right? I know this. Don't mind honest people. Like Sagittarius, brutally honest, kind of rudish people, they might even find that funny. Like, I think Aquarius suns especially, and moons, I'll even add Mars, is like, you might find Sagittarius bluntness like hilarious to you. You don't like take shit personally, so you just kind of like you just brush it off, like, and that's so nice, it's a blessing. But I feel like it's also just like to us, like the outside looking in people, like, bro, what the fuck, like, why can you brush everything off? Like, what's up with that? What's up? But yeah, that's you guys though. What else? Also, you guys are like, as I said, you guys are passionate about learning. Like, you guys have an affinity for learning about things, and it could be anything. I feel like you guys are into some really unorthodox topics. Like, just think of the weirdest thing. Like, have you ever met somebody who they'll just start breaking into like, they'll ask you really random questions, like, what's the, like, Aquarius Mars are the type of people to ask you, like, do you think you could wear a ring inside of your your esophagus? Or like, they'll be like, you guys think I can get a tattoo on my tooth? Like, you guys have the weirdest the weirdest shit, and you like ask them in like sometimes the most uncalled for times. Like when, like, let's say we're stranded and we're kind of like really in a dire situation, like, you guys would ask the most unnecessary questions. Like, what are you doing? Like, what the and then you'd be the one laughing. Like, why is everyone being so serious? Like, that's how you become like a Sagittarius in a way, because you're not necessarily present. Like, Aquarius placements are like very absent-minded, and I think with Mars, like, you guys can aggressively be absent-minded. Like, you guys are OD, like, because Mars is a malefic planet, so whatever sign Mars is in, it's gonna make that sign malefic itself. It's gonna embrace that sign's bad qualities, not so great qualities. So with Aquarius, Mars will embrace your overly stubborn qualities, and your overly condescending qualities. So, and your overly like socially like like, how like Aquariuses have the rep of when they're in a relationship, they're not necessarily dating you to connect, they're just dating you to study you and use you as like a little a lab rat. Yeah, you guys do that like aggressively. Like, that's how Mars emphasizes your toxic traits, or your not so great traits. Also, like, as I said, you're condescending, so you guys have like this overabundance of like a god complex, especially if you have like an Aquarius rising conjuncting your Mars in Aquarius, bro, and you're a guy with this, bro. If you're a girl with this and you're born in my generation, so you'll also have Uranus in the first house, and you'll have Mars, and then you'll have like Neptune as well, and then Pluto and Sag will sextile your rising. Psst, bro, I don't even want to speak about if you actually have an Aquarius sun sign. First of all, like, yes, you're cool, but I also feel like you're so difficult to deal with. It's just because, like, dating you is like dating, like, what I would assume, like, a very, like what's his name? Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty? Yeah. That's you. Very condescending. You're there for a very short time, not a long time. Because a lot of times when people are smart, they also get really depressed. So kind of like Scorpios, you guys be mad depressed as well, depressive, just because you're too smart for your own good, and too much of anything is bad. Being too smart is fucked up. It'll fuck you up as well. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like, as I was saying, Mars bringing out your bad sides. Like, you guys get overly condescending. You get really rude when people speak about things. Like, you cut somebody, or like, if somebody's speaking about something that you don't like, or you feel like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, you'll cut them off. Like, you'll just start talking about whatever you want to talk about, and then when they start talking, you'll just cut them off, and then you'll probably be the type to laugh while you're doing that, knowing that you're laughing at them, knowing that they probably know that you're doing that, but you're still gonna continue doing it just because, it's a good time. Ha ha ha. You guys. But yeah, as I was saying, if you're part of my generation and this shit is conjuncting Uranus, you guys just have sudden, like, you could have like sudden energy and then suddenly you're tired. It's just sudden things, like your energy levels drop and they rise suddenly in the most unexpected times. Like, you could even be mid conversation, like, let's say you're chill, like, let's say your mood for the day is like super chill, and then like suddenly you just have this spark to like leave the conversation, like mid conversation, like somebody's speaking or even you're speaking, and then like literally mid conversation you have an idea and you're like, oh my god, and it like fills you up with so much energy, and then you like have to leave, and then the people around you are like, bro, what the fuck just happened? And you don't even have time to explain that, because like by the next time you see them you just completely forgot about that. Or it could be a thing of like, it could be the opposite, like mid conversation type shit, and then suddenly like somebody triggers anger in you and then you get like really pissed off, or suddenly somebody triggers like you to get sad, and then now you're overthinking that shit, and then you're not even in the conversation anymore, like you're not even participating in the conversation, because now you're just busy like dissociating, trying to figure out what the fuck happened in this drop of mood, like what the fuck. It's like such a quick thing, sudden. But when your anger's there, it's like OD. Also because like you'll have your Mars, if you, as I say, still speaking about people born in my generation, also if you're born in the generation where Pluto is in Scorpio, so you'll have this shit squaring your Pluto, you are the problem, bro. I also have this, I have Mars in Virgo squaring Pluto in Sagittarius, so I'm also the problem. But you, like, we are the problem, but you're the problem because you're stubborn as fuck, and then you get mad when people don't agree with you, but also you play vicious mind games with people, vicious, like volatile mind games, and then you ghost them. Like, you have a problem with ghosting, like you have a problem with like making somebody feel like they're the shit and then like leaving them, like just sending them on their way type shit. Like that's that kind of heartbreak, but it's better though, like at least it's not the square with like Mars and Leo squaring Pluto and like Pluto, Scorpio and Pluto. Burna Boy has that, and I know he has a song where he was talking about how his anger issues are crazy, like wild, but that's just everybody who has Mars square Pluto. But you guys, people born in the Scorpio Pluto generation, if you have Mars in Aquarius, just know, I also know you probably have anger issues, and your anger issues are also pretty sudden, and then when they come, they're just so intense, and then they leave just as quickly, but like crazy intense, But if you're born in my generation, if you're born in my generation with Pluto being in Sag, and Uranus and Neptune in Aquarius, and then you have the shit conjuncting Uranus and Neptune. Okay, let's talk about like the conjunction with Neptune, because I feel like when you're not suddenly angry, you could also be somebody who has like a low energy, because anything that Neptune touches, it kind of makes it foggy and like dreamy. You could have like low energy levels, and then you could also be the type to like maybe you could be filled with energy whenever you're around your friends, but then when you're alone, like when you're in isolation, because Neptune is about isolation, like when you're alone, like that's when you're a lot less energetic and a lot less energized to get up and do shit. So a lot of the times and this is also now speaking just like with having an Aquarius rising, but it's also more, it's like emphasized when you have like Aquarius rising conjuncting your Uranus and Aquarius, like your friends, being around people energizes you, socializing energizes you, talking energizes you, being in large groups of people where everybody's just like vibing and it's chill, like that energizes you, as opposed to you being alone, like that makes you a lot more low on energy, like that's when the Neptune would kick in. That's when you're like a lot more Piscean, like where you're just like, you're more passionate about just like dreaming and daydreaming, and just being in that vibe, smoking, like just not doing anything, being lazy. And then as soon as people come around and there's like conversation flow, like you can see there's like some noise, chatter, then you're a lot more energized, like it's fueling you to also like go about, hang out, that type of thing. Or just maybe even just learning, like, but I feel like just generally even social media could energize you, like just talking to people on social media type shit, but as far as your anger is concerned, and I think like actually as far as your sexual desires are concerned, you are like the very experimental person, like you're not afraid to try anything once. You will try anything once, like especially if it's dealing with fucking, You know what I'm saying? Like, you will try anything, whatever position, place, time, equipment. You'll try anything one time. You're very like open to that. But if you're like a Capricorn something, like, yeah, same thing. But maybe because I was about to say maybe like you'd only do that with the person that you're with. But maybe, let me say, maybe like if you have Capricorn placements and you're on Aquarius, Mars, like you'd be a lot more experimental with one particular person, or a person that you'll be like, okay, I'm gonna be intimate with you for a long period of time. Maybe we're not dating, but it'll just be you. I don't know if you guys are whores. You could, maybe you could be, but I feel like also Capricorn placements have like this thing of respecting traditions, and like I feel like Capricorns, if they're gonna be a hoe, I'll take that back. You guys are there also. You guys could be there, but as I was saying, you guys are also very experimental. Mars and Aquarius, very experimental. Sex machines. What else do I want to say? Yeah, and as far as like your passions, like you guys are super passionate. Like, you're not like Gemini Mars, where you guys could be scattered. You guys are not necessarily. You could be scattered, especially if that shit is conjuncting Uranus and Aquarius. You could be scattered, especially if you have like a Gemini rising or moon. Definitely that'll entail that you are a scattered person. Especially if you have a Gemini moon, then you probably talk really, really fast. Also, Gemini rising, you talk really, 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 really fast. Like Trisha Payton, but she's a Taurus sun, Aquarius moon, Gemini, Mercury, Venus with an Aquarius and Mars as well, and she talks really, really quickly, fast as hell. I also say that if you have like a Libra Mercury or Gemini Mercury, like you talk really fast too. But yeah, you guys are just passionate about like. And also, speaking of Trisha Payton, like, she was on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, she got famous for being on YouTube and just talking and connecting with different people. So you guys could also be the same, especially if you're born in the generation where Uranus is in Aquarius. Like, you guys really, but even if you're not doing too much, like, you guys just have that energy of attracting people. Or like, you would be associated with the popular people. Like, you really would be friends with people who are popular. And then in that sense you're just popular by association, but it's always going to be a situation where you're led to be popular, whether it's by association or by using the internet to get popular type of thing. But as far as like, yeah, Mars and Aquarius people, super cool. When it comes to conflict, I feel like they like to talk it out. So even though but I feel like this is also just an Aquarius thing, like they prefer talking things out rather than like doing Leo dramatic type shit. Like they stay far away from that, but I feel like when you guys are mad, like, yes, you can get revengeful, but I think the way that you get revenge is just cutting people off. Just done, I'm done with you. But you may do it in a very sly way. Like, you may cut someone off at a time where you feel like they would need you the most, just so it stings. Like, you cut them off in a moment where they're gonna need you a lot, so they can feel that, and then you feel like, I'm never gonna speak to you ever again in my life. Or maybe you'd be the type of person to be like, okay, I'll cut you off only after I have gotten the resources that I need from you. That's how like, I guess, I could be devious like that, but like, I feel like your go-to tactic is just to cut people off, cut you off, restrict you from ever associating with me. But even in that sense, like, if you see them again, you'll still probably be cordial, like chill, not like spiteful. Even though you could also be the type of person to like act like someone doesn't exist, like you really ignore them, like you just like they don't exist, like they're a ghost, like you don't see them. They could be dead ass sitting next to you, you're not even talking to them, you're talking to everybody else. Like, that could be your thing. But yeah, that's Mars and Aquarius type person. But other than that, if like the situation can be talked through, then you'll be cool with somebody. Like, you're a lot more quick to want to be cool with everybody than you are to want to give that shade. Like, and even if you have to, like, because once again, Aquarius is friendly, so they can even be friendly with people they hate. You know what I'm saying? Obviously it depends. If you have Scorpio moon, then it's different, very different. Scorpio rising, it'll be different. But like, you'll still be cordial, you'll still be chill, whatever. Move on with your life. It is what it is. You're too cool to be doing all that up and down hoo-ha shit, so yeah, that's you guys. But I fuck with you. Heart to heart. Aquarius placement to one in Aquarius placement. So yeah, now that we've done that, move on to Mars and Aquarius through the houses. So Mars and Aquarius through the first house, right? Aquarius, what am I saying, Aquarius? A first house deals with your personality, the relationship that you have with yourself, how you treat yourself, how you view yourself, how you see yourself, and how you interact with yourself, and how you see yourself. Yeah, I already said that. So having Mars and Aquarius in the first house, these are the type of people. Aquarius rising, shout out to us. Shout out to us, Aquarius risings. Okay, but you're having message. But having Mars and Aquarius in the first house, which would also mean that if you're born in my generation, you would have Uranus also in the first house, and then low-key also Neptune in the first house, which I also have I have Uranus and Neptune in the first house. So okay, you would have 3 planets in the first house. And you have a stellium in the first house. So okay, how you treat yourself would be Martian. First of all, I want to say you see yourself as an individual. That's for sure. You're aggressively individualistic, and you are rebellious, because also Uranus deals with rebelling, and revolutions that we have, fighting the system. That's Uranus vibes. You are very rebellious when it comes to authority, because Aquarius rising, we naturally have Scorpio in the 10th house, meaning that a lot of the times we were raised by a parent who was very authoritative, usually our fathers. And a lot of the times our fathers are, because also we're ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is a fatherly figure planet, government, whatever, head of the house. Obviously it depends, like if your first house lord is in whatever house, it'll depend. But we naturally have Scorpio in the 10th house, so a lot of the times we grew up with a very over stubborn and dictatorship type parental figure. And then as we grew up as Aquarius rising, we learned to rebel, because we were like, wait, what? Aquarius, so once again, we questioned the system. We fuck that. We bulldoze whatever rules we grew into. We fuck that. I'm not gonna do that. If we grew up in conservative families especially, and they told us you as a girls should do this, boys should do this, you're like, what? Why? Who made that rule up? Start questioning, you know what I'm saying? So personally, you are an individual, right? But you're also personally rebellious and aggressively rebellious, and you fight. What pisses you off is when people try to tell you what to do, period. Because as Aquarius rising, we don't like pressure. We don't like when people pressure us to do anything. Obviously this develops within time, but obviously it depends. If you have Aries placements, then this is something that you have naturally. You've never ever abided to anyone's rules, but and also depends on your upbringing, obviously. Also depends on if you're a boy or girl, because I feel girls are a lot more no, actually I'm gonna take that back. It really just depends on you. It depends on your situation, your upbringing, and how you handle the dictatorship or the rules that you were taught as a child. And then as you grow up, you no, man, I don't want to conform to the rules that I was taught as a child. I don't have to do that. I don't want to. If I don't want to do something, I don't have to do it. So personally, you're very fiery. Personally, you're very as I say, rebellious. You're very passionate, but it more so goes into you, the cause, because Aquariuses are rebel with a causes or rebel without a cause. So then you would rebel, and the cause would be you just fighting for your individuality. Mars is about war and fighting, so you would fight for your individuality. The way that you treat yourself is always kind of on defense, and trying to always I guess ghost from people who try to put you in a box, kind of like Leo risings. Leo risings just don't want you to tell them how to express themselves. They don't want to tell you, because Leo risings are fun, they're bold, they're goofy, they're loud as fuck. And sometimes obviously there's a time and a place, but I think Leo risings or Leo energy may not know that all the time, so they express themselves however they want to, and they don't want you to tell them how to express themselves. But Aquarius risings, They just don't want you to tell them. Same thing. They don't want you to tell them how to do anything. Like, don't tell me how to live. Don't tell me how to do anything. Like, I don't want your opinion. I don't want your suggestions. I don't want you to tell me what you think I should be doing. And that's how you get defensive as well, especially with that Uranus and the combo with Uranus and Mars. Like, you get fiercely angry, and then your anger makes you like rebel. Like, you rebel hardcore. Like, especially if you grew up with parents who were very like, parents who were born in the 1960s with the Pluto and Virgo generation. Yeah, if you have parents like that, you probably don't get along with them. You probably don't fuck with them, bro, because they're very like, structure. Things should be like A, B, C, D, E. And you as a Mars, like, once again, if you're born in my generation, obviously it depends. Like, if you're born in the Pluto Scorpio generation, it's different. And then you'd have like your Uranus and like what, like Capricorn or Sag or something, then that would be a little different, you know what I'm saying? But you still would have like that fiery, like, don't tell me what to do. But I'm just speaking now for all my people who have Uranus and Mars in the first house, and Neptune. Like, I feel like with Neptune, how people would treat you, they will project how they will, because obviously Neptune makes everything a fantasy. So people will fantasize you, and then they'll come up to you with their fantasies and their projections onto you, and then they'll obviously project and low-key force you, or they'll make you feel like you have to act in that certain way. So then you'll rebel, and then you'll get angry that people are looking at you in a way that, like, they're perceiving you in a way that you're not actually like that, so that'll make you mad. That makes you mad. But what makes you what turns you on is having, being around other people who are individuals, other different people, unique looking people who don't fit into the normal status quo, people who don't like, people who just don't give a fuck. Like, you like that, what I'm saying? Like, you enjoy that. You like being around people who don't give a fuck as much as you don't give a fuck. Obviously, like, levels of not giving a fuck are dependent on you, because some Aquariuses give a fuck 5 out of 10. Some other Aquariuses give a fuck don't give a fuck 8 out of 10. Some Aquariuses don't give a fuck 2 out of 10. It depends on where you're at in your life, you know what I'm saying? But you just like other people who don't give a fuck, because you like to, like, you want to be like them. You want to be in spaces where people are just freely expressing themselves and not like telling everybody else what to do or how to behave or how to whatever, because you don't tell anybody how they should be. So you feel like, why are you telling me how I should be? Like, the fuck? But then again, also no, Aquariuses can be hypocrites, and they could also be the ones, like, Aquariuses risings, especially with you guys, as much as you don't want people to tell you what to do, you could be the one feeling like, okay, I'm so smart, I should be telling people how they should, like, do things. Even though it could be like as small as or as big as, like, telling somebody, yo dude, you should wear whatever you want, or I don't know, like something like that. Like, even telling somebody something good could be like telling them what to do. So in that way, it's like a tricky situation. I don't know, it's shit is weird, bro. But I know Aquarius placements. I'm also an Aquarius rising, so I know that it's just like a lot of hypocrisy, because you guys, like, it's like, it's cool when you do it, but when everybody else does it, like, it makes you furious, and you're like, I want to rebel, or I'm never gonna see you again, and then you just leave them and you never speak to them ever again, to be spiteful or to just, preserve your energy. Also, if you have like a Mars in Aquarius conjunct your Saturn in Aquarius in your first house, and I think maybe it would calm it down. Like, you'll be a lot more on the I'm using my energy to make some money side, rather than if it's conjuncting Uranus, and then you'll be on the I'm using my energy, but I just want to be an individual and connect to everybody, I feel like Saturn just makes everything more business orientated, yeah. But anyway, so Mars and Aquarius in the second house, right? So second house deals with your assets, your possessions, things that you own, things that you have, real estate, the possessions of your house, your car, things that are of use to you, useful things that you need to live your everyday life. So having Mars and Aquarius in the second house as a Capricorn rising, I feel like you guys are like, once again, with every second house placement, like, you having Mars in the second house means that you need material things in order for you to feel safe enough to express, or to express your passion. So you'd be the type of person to you could be I feel like, okay, Aquarius risings, you feel like, because look, okay, here's how it is, right? For you to express your passion, and because Uranus and Aquarius already deal with technology, and technology, a phone, like, I have a phone, this is a possession, this is my phone, I'm using my phone, so it kind of goes hand in hand. Like, Uranus or Aquarius and Taurus kind of have a similarity in the sense that, especially in the second house, that so people with Aquarius in the second house, you feel like you need technology, you need the support of your supporters. Like, right now I have a YouTube channel, so if I had Uranus in the second house, for me to feel like, okay, I'm doing a good job, I would need to see some comments on my videos saying, yeah, dude, I really fuck with your videos, I really fuck with what you're doing. So that would motivate me to feel like, okay, I should continue with this. And then the support of your opinions, but the support of knowing that I have a phone to look through my comments, like, that is the thing that's helping me fuel my passion, because Mars is debilitated in the second house, because Mars feels like it can't just express its passion and just do it off of passion. Like, it feels like it needs to have things, possessions, items, materials to support its passion. So with Aquarius being here, you feel like, hey, you would need supporters, like, you need people around you, even strangers, like, you just appreciate the support of strangers, to motivate you to tell you to continue with what you're doing, to tell you to continue, like, doing the shit, like, practicing. Like, that's how you feel like that's how your passion is stabilized, basically, but a lot of the times you do get support from people, like, and a lot of the times people value you, even though sometimes, like, it could be a situation where people are jealous because you are more popular than them, so then they would, like, pray on your downfall. But everybody has haters, but generally, like, you are somebody who needs more encouragement, because you would also have Uranus, if you were born in my generation, once again, you would have Uranus in the second house also. So Uranus would be in the second house, and what else? Okay, first of all, your Neptune would still stay in the first house, especially if it's, like, on a low degree, But I also feel like my audience is gonna, like, everybody who's younger than me, because my brother is, like, he's born in the generation where Neptune went into Pisces, but Uranus was, like, in the later degrees of Aquarius. Anyway, though, but if let's just say your Neptune and your Uranus are in Aquarius, and they're both in your second house, like, your value system changes a lot, and the things that you value change a lot, and the things that you possess that you value also change a lot. So you could be like somebody, and also, second house rules over finances sometimes, because we all value money, because it can buy us nice things, but, like, your value systems can change, definitely, and they change suddenly as well. But also, because Mars is, like, a very selfish planet, you could be very stingy also with your possessions, with your assets, especially with strangers. You don't like sharing what you have. Like, you could be the person who gatekeeps information. Yeah, you are the person who gatekeeps information about people, or information to people, from people. Like, you don't like giving information, or, like, let's say your hair is really nice and curly, you know what I'm saying, and people ask you, how do you curl your hair? You probably lied to them. Or, like, let's say you use, like, a specific soap to wash your face, and people ask you, like, what soap do you use? You gatekeep information like that because you be selfish. You don't want anyone else to know that information but you, so that you could be the only one that's fly. So you'll gatekeep that from associates, you'll gatekeep that from people, but you feed off of, like, the compliments that you get, that, oh my god, your hair is so nice, oh my god, this is so nice. But, like, when people ask you, how did you do that, you don't want to snitch and tell, because you want to be the only one that has that And that's how Mars is malefic in that sense, but it's selfish. And also Saturn is here because Saturn rules Aquarius, so you just preserve that information, and then you lie, and then you give them information. Like let's say you have like a whole skincare routine, right? And then but there's like a specific thing that you use that like this is the thing that makes my hair like, or my face like pop, you know what I'm saying? But you only give them everything else, but like you don't want anybody else to know that this is it, because you just gatekeep information in that sense, because you be selfish. Crazy. Anyway, but yeah, that's Mars and Aquarius in the second house. What else do I want to say about this placement? Anyway, but I feel like you guys just value information. You have weird talents. You probably like have a really weird talent, like a very weird talent. I feel like Aquarius in the second house just have weird talents, like you remember that episode on Victorious where Tori can like shoot a bow with her feet, like weird shit like that. Anyway, moving on to Mars and Aquarius in the third house. So third house deals with your friends, house of your environment, your siblings, your skills that you learn from a childhood, your environment, how your environment influenced your communication style, how your environment influenced the way that you interact with people. That's third house type shit, obviously, like depending on the neighborhood you grew up in, you'll gain friends in that neighborhood, so you're having Mars and Aquarius in the third house. For what? Sagittarius rising? Damn. So Sagittarius rising, Mars in the third house. Ooh, so then you would have people born in my generation. You would have Pluto conjunct your first house. Drama. Okay, so having Mars in the third house in Aquarius, I feel like this also just makes you mad, like, because you'd also have Uranus. Once again, guys, these videos, I'm just like dedicating them to people who were born in my generation. I'm born 2000. That was, anyway. I'm like losing. I'm all scattered now. But yeah, people born in my generation. So you'd also have Uranus in the third house, and you'd also low-key have Neptune in the third house. Okay, but just more so speaking for Uranus in the third house and Mars in the third house. Yeah, you're very impulsive. You have mad impulsive decision making. Like your decision making is very sudden, and as much as you think about it, like you don't think a lot of the times. And whenever things go left, you just also want to escape the situation, because that's how Sagittarius is operate. You just be escaping the situation, especially if like you helped stir the pot and you made a decision that helped stir your own pot, like that fucked you over. Like you'll just kind of run away from that and not want to deal with it, or like just detach completely from the situation, so that you don't have to, I guess, reap the not so beneficial consequences of your decision. Hold on. Cheers. Ooh, and it's still cold. I really fuck with like flasks, bro. Not like normal bottles. I only just recently like thought of getting a flask bottle. ASMR. Yeah. And this shit really keeps, like, whatever beverage you have, it'll make, like, if you poured a hot beverage, that beverage will be hot for a long time. Unlike pouring it in a glass container that I used to do, and then it just drops to immediate, like, room temperature. If, like, right now I poured ice in this bottle with like lemon and mint like 2 hours ago, and it's still cold. Genius. Shout out to flasks. Amaze balls. Okay, but anyway, yeah, moving on to Mars and Aquarius in the third house. Yo, you guys are just mad impulsive, as I was saying. Like, your decision making is very impulsive. Yes, you're very smart. I feel like you guys are the super genius people. Or maybe you're not like school smart. Like, 'cause maybe at school you had ADHD type vibes and you couldn't concentrate because you were like easily distracted. So yeah, okay, yeah, you could be easily distracted, right? But like when it comes to things that you are really interested in, then you become very obsessive with that. Because Aquarius energy can get really obsessive, like overly obsessive. And like when it gets overly obsessive, it wants to study everything about that particular subject. But I feel like maybe for you, because it's in the third house, and third house is the Mercury house, Gemini house, and Gemini, we know, deals with like mutability, multiple things. Like maybe you were the top student, maybe you like the kid that always talked a lot and you got in trouble, but you still had like really good grades and you still passed, like you were the nuisance child, you couldn't shut the fuck up, but like you had the grades, even like in other high school, fucking college, even at work, bro, like whatever you do, like it's just because you have so many ideas about things, and your ideas are usually really unique and like interesting and like unique eccentric as well, you know what I'm saying? And like you kind of like talking, not kind of, but you really enjoyed speaking about your ideas and your unique thoughts about life and the world, and you like sharing that. And even if it's not like, because you're probably really funny with this placement as well, like you're really really funny, like you're a funny person, and your jokes are kind of quirky and quick, and you have quick comebacks, super quick at like comebacks and shit. So yeah, you just talk a lot. I feel like when you get angry you talk a lot, like you just talk a lot, or you think a lot, or it just kind of sends you into a moment of like not knowing what to do. Because I know with air signs, like whenever we get mad, like whenever somebody triggers an emotion, we kind of just, it's like a glitch in like a radio where it just imagine a vinyl, and then it plays like the same tune, like that 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 you just glitch, or once again, if you have Aries placements, if you have like an Aries Mercury, then you just get violently aggressively angry, and then you just have sharp words and you become really rude, what else do I want to say about this placement? Yeah, bro, you just get mad rude, bro, when you get mad. But like you are sapiosexual for sure with this placement, and also once again, you don't like slow people, you don't like people who take a while to process shit. And also you're the type of person, especially if you have this like conjuncting your Mercury in Aquarius, which if you do, whoo, I don't doubt that you are a condescending fuck, but also very like you don't mind sitting and hearing somebody out. Yes, you can be condescending, but like I feel like you're very considerate that other people just have a different way of thinking. Because once again, with Aquarius, it's like a thing of live and let live. But once again, because it's in Mars, and Mars really just brings out all the malefic sides to every sign. So with Mars and Aquarius, like you may not have the patience to sit and listen for a long time to somebody's opinion that you find stupid or not worth your time. So then you'll probably cut that interaction short and be like whatever, and never want to speak to that person. Or if you do, you kind of just know like, okay, I'm gonna only say a few words to this person so I can keep it pushing, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's you guys. You guys be talkative. You guys are very talkative. Jeez. But it's nice because I feel like you guys are the people that, just like Libras, you know how to keep the convo alive, especially in large groups. Like you know how to like kind of spark a conversation and just keep the vibes flowing. You know how to like add on to jokes. If there's like a Leo who's trying to like be the center of attention and they're throwing jokes, you know how to add. Like you're not somebody that'll fade away like maybe a Pisces would or a Scorpio would, where they just want to completely disappear. Like you'll be the person who's adding on to the conversation. You're adding to the jokes. You're adding input, but not necessarily being the center of attention. You're just adding, like you're fueling the fire with your conversation type shit. Also very sociable. You guys are super sociable. You probably are known a lot more in your environment. But also, speaking of which, you guys probably grew up in a rough-ish neighborhood. Maybe like you and your siblings fight a lot, and then maybe it was a situation that you and your siblings, you fought, and one of your siblings left, and they left suddenly. Especially if you have this conjuncting Uranus, like your siblings left suddenly. Yo, actually, speaking of, let's get into this. Like, you probably have siblings, and they also, maybe like you're not in contact with them, or maybe you don't know that you have siblings. Like, it could be a situation where like your dad had an affair and you don't know that you have other siblings, but maybe these siblings are like more aggressive, and like you fight with them a lot. But generally, like having Mars in the third house, like, or maybe you even grew up in a neighborhood where like there was a lot of violence, and maybe you had to ghost that. Like Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, you lived in a neighborhood, something happened, and then you had to leave suddenly to go to another neighborhood type shit. Yeah, it's giving Mars and Aquarius in the third house. But also, once again, if Uranus is here, then it's like low-key the same shit, where you just had like sudden changes in your environment, or maybe you've moved around a lot. Like Jenny from Jenny in Georgia, like you moved neighborhoods a lot. But because Mars is here, I just feel like you were probably like the bully. Like, maybe you were bullied, or you were the bully at school, or in your siblings, or in your friend groups. You're probably hanging out with some aggressive motherfuckers. Yeah. Anyway, so moving on now, Mars and Aquarius in the fourth house. Fourth house deals with your family members, domestic things. What else? How you were raised as a child, your childhood themes, the energy, the general emotion you feel when you go home, or the general emotions you feel when you get emotionally close to somebody. That's your fourth house. That's the feeling you feel when you're in your fourth house. So having Mars and Aquarius in the fourth house. Okay, also same situation. You probably moved homes a lot. And home was probably a very cold, aggressive place. Like, you probably grew up with people who, like, you probably, like, I'm thinking of, the Gallagher family. Frank Gallagher, Fiona Gallagher, Lip, and everybody else, Debbie. Who else is there? Who are the two other boys? Ian. Oops. And the other dude, the crazy dude who was the police at the end. But yeah, him. Not Evan. What's his name? Damn. I forgot. But like, that's definitely, because you'd be a Scorpio rising having Aquarius in the fourth house, and then having Mars here. Yeah, baby. Lots of fights at home. First of all, obviously, I always say this, Mars in the fourth house lets me know that you probably were fighting with your mom, or there was issues with your mom. Or maybe your mom was the one who just wasn't emotionally present, but when she was like violent with you guys. Or she was just like a selfish mother who was like emotionally unavailable. Or somehow maybe you were separated from your family, maybe you were adopted, and then the home that you got adopted into was violent. Like your foster family was like pretty crazy, but then you're still kind of detached from all your parental figures, and like, which is why like when you get close to somebody also as a Scorpio rising, like you get really scared, because like the chaos that happens, especially if you have Uranus in the fourth house. Oh, baby darling. And Mars. Ooh wee. That's crazy. Bro, it's crazy. Like, I can't even imagine like having to move around a lot, just having to escape, having to suddenly disappear from your family members, or maybe having a family member that was just like in and out. You never knew if they were coming or going. You just never knew. Like, it was just always some unexpected, unstable shit that was happening in your house, and it just made you feel like you can't rely on the people in your home, because home was always like, the idea and the feeling of home for you is so unstable and so aggressive and volatile, which is why you probably always had to move around a lot, because you never felt secure in one place, because whenever you did, there was always something that was happening that forced you to move, type shit, yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, Mars in Aquarius, or maybe it was just your mom. Like maybe this is something that happened with your with the female figures in your life. Maybe like your mom was always leaving to be with her other friends. Maybe you had to live with your mom's friends, or maybe I don't know, something like with your mom. It could also be your dad, because technically Saturn rules over. Saturn does rule over Aquarius. So. And also, if you have like Saturn in Aquarius conjuncting Mars in Aquarius, all in the 4th house, bro, it's your dad. I know it's your dad. Your dad was the one that was doing this to you. Your dad was the one who was, emotionally distant father and mother out at there, but who was very violent and abusive to you guys when you were growing up, type shit. Yeah, but violent and abusive, and then he was just disappeared a lot. And when he came, he was like Frank Gallagher type shit. He was just there for selfish reasons, and then whenever he got what he wanted, he dipped, he left. He wasn't there to stay for a long time. And that's just howdy shouty. That's just how it is, Yeah. But yeah, also, but when it comes to you getting close to people, you don't like that. Like, getting close to people is scary. So that's why you just kind of keep people at arm distance, because it's a lot more safer for you, to move. Because, like, if we had to take a look at your own emotional world, your inner life, it's also very hot and chaotic, And then as a return, like whenever you get close to other people, then you become like how you were raised. You become distant, you become unpredictable. You're here one day and then you leave unpredictably. Nothing is stable. So that's the vibe, which is why Mars does not like the 4th house. It's not very it's not, what's the word, Mars can't be free to just do itself, to just do what it wants to do in the 4th house, but otherwise, on the more positive side, you guys could just be people who, or maybe you could be somebody who ghosted your family. Like, you're just somebody who left your family because it was too crazy, it was too chaotic, I don't necessarily see anything good with this placement. I would have said, like, you could be somebody who fights for your family members, and it could be that you could be somebody who's very protective over your family members, but you, as much as you're protective, you also fight with them a lot. Like, you feel a lot more comfortable to express your true emotions to people you're closer to, your volatile emotions, and then to people who aren't that close to you, you're a lot more friendly to them. Pretty much how your parents were to you. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, moving on now. Mars in Aquarius in the 5th house. So 5th house represents children, dating, casual dating, hookups, but like hookups that make you feel, I guess, happy. Not like 8th house hookups where it's like an all consuming thing. Flings, flings, dates, having fun, entertainment, enjoyment, all of that. So this will be for all the Libra risings, right? So having Mars and Aquarius in the 5th house. So, okay, you guys are, firstly, the I feel like you'd be the loud people, the loud ones, the loud Aquarius, Mars people. But I feel like you guys are really fun. Like, you're very, I don't want to say serious about fun, but you're like, you enjoy having fun with strangers. Like, you're a lot more open to, it's like you have a lot more fun with people that you're not necessarily super close to. Or like Aquarius kind of people. Like, you like going out on dates and going out and about with people who are a lot more carefree, people who are individualistic, people who have their own way of thinking. Like, you like these kinds of people. You have the most fun and you're mostly entertained by these kinds of people. People who are unique, people who have like their own eccentric sense of style, people who have their own I guess, yeah, unique sense of living, really. People who have opinions and shit. Like, you like these type of people. But like, in terms of how you express yourself, you probably just look, because my brother's a Libra rising and he has Uranus in the 5th house in Aquarius, and he's just so weird in the way he expresses himself. Like, he makes these weird fucking sounds, and I would assume it's like the same for you guys as well, also because you once again speaking about people who in my generation who have their Mars conjuncting Uranus and Aquarius, like you guys you make weird sounds when you speak. You guys talk to yourselves a lot, and then when you talk to yourself, it's just like the weirdest conversations, like some weird crazy shit, bro. But it's either that or you're like completely dry and detached. Like there's no in between. You're either like super weird and eccentric and goofy, not goofy but like eccentric and weird, or you're just like straight like blank face, like nothing is happening in your mind, you're just thinking in your head, you know. But like having Mars and Aquarius here, like you guys do this aggressively, you know. You're either like aggressively weird, like, and you're even forcefully weird. Like if you're around your friends, you know, you're like the type of person to be all up in somebody's face and do weird shit, like boom, 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 boom. Like this is your face, Aquarius, Mars in the 5th house. They'll come, especially if you're friends with them, they'll just do some like weird shit like that. Like it's so so weird, so fucking weird, like that. And you guys are so aggressive with that, and you don't like when people don't like it, because you feel like you don't like when people make you feel weird about being weird, because you are weird. But you don't like when people make it seem like it's a bad thing to be weird, you know, because then that'll make you want to rebel and like ghost those people, because they're making you feel uncomfortable, even though you're probably making them feel uncomfortable, you know. You just want them to accept you and not judge you, because you probably don't judge other people when they're being weird. In fact, you quite like other people when they're being weird and eccentric and just weird, you know. But yeah, in the 5th house, yeah, and I feel like generally you get mad when people don't want to expose their weird side. But generally, I feel like when it comes to dating, you guys could also be serial daters. Like you just jump from one fling to another, you know. And a lot of sudden changes happen in your flings, like in your little hookup phases with people, you know. Or there's just like a lot of detachment in your hookup phases with people, you know. Or you detach, or you attract people who just detach quickly. Speaking of my brother, do you want to come show your face? This dude looks so weird. Okay, he does not want to show himself in the face. I mean, in the video. Yeah, but you'd like be proving my point right now. I'll tell you later. Anyway, my brother just left. He doesn't want to be seen. It's fine. But yeah, moving on. Mars and Aquarius in the 6th house for all Virgo risings. So 6th house represents your work. It represents daily routines, you know, daily habits, how you take care of your body, how you take care of the health of your body, and how you manage your everyday life, you know, so that everything in your daily life works accordingly and efficiently and effectively. So having Aquarius in your 6th house, definitely on a daily basis, you are always around people. Like your daily life revolves around people, human beings, like talking, communications, interactions, people that you don't know, people that you do know. And a lot of the times as a Virgo rising, unexpected things happen with your health, you know, a lot of unexpected shit. And if Uranus is here as well as Mars, like a whole bunch of, like when you get angry, unexpected health issues uprise all of a sudden that you don't understand. Like you were really fine. You could be an athlete as well, because I feel like you would probably be an athlete, maybe not athlete, I don't know, whatever it is that you do, you know. You would probably, like, you would be somebody who, I'm gonna say this, like whenever you get mad, like it somehow affects your bladder, like your digestive system, your stomach, you know what I'm saying. But it happens suddenly. It could, maybe like you could be angry today, and then like 2 weeks later, like that shit strikes you. But mind you, you were mad at something like 2 weeks ago, but it only hits you 2 weeks later. And then it happens suddenly. It could happen like while you are in class, and suddenly you feel a sharp pain in your the left side of your stomach, and it's like it could be excruciating, and you just don't know what the fuck happened, what's going on, you know. And then like as soon as you go to the doctor, or as soon as you take something, like you could drink water, you take like whatever stomach or painkiller, whatever, and it could still be there. And then you could do something weird, like you could even sit down and do this, and then all of a sudden it's fine. Like all of a sudden you're fine again, like literally like that. Like some unexpected sudden shit happens to your health, you know. I would say like you're a Virgo rising, so I feel like naturally you will definitely be into some kind of dietary shit, vegetarian, vegan, whatever, you know, as I've said with all Virgo placements. But generally I would say that, like, yeah, just be careful of what you eat, you know. But a lot of the times your anger does, and your energy levels also affect your health generally, you know, energy, Mars, whatever. And in terms of your work, I feel like you definitely somebody that works in social media. You could be somebody who's an IT, you know, could be somebody who's an engineer, could be somebody who is like a those, you know, those people that tell other people how they can manage their Instagram and their social media so they can get famous and all of that. You could be one of those people. Or you could be like, I don't know, it really depends, but anything revolving around connecting with people, especially people that you don't know. Like you could be from Russia, and you know, people who work in PayPal, people who work for PayPal, like they connect with so many different people all over the world. Like, yeah, that's some Aquarius 6th house type shit. But having Mars here, bro, like, also I feel like your diet changes so much, like sudden changes in your diet as well, sudden changes in your work. You've probably changed work so much, like you've changed jobs a lot of the times, and you probably, it's like a sudden situation where you had to quit, or you just decided to impulsively quit your job type shit, you know, for some selfish reason, because you felt like people were telling you what to do way too much and you didn't like that, you know, you little rebel. You wanted to rebel. You know, you spell rebel and rebel as the same, because like a rebel is a noun, but then to rebel spelled the exact same way is a verb, which is weird. Anyway, but yeah, you are a little rebel as you rebel against everything in terms of work, you know. Also rebelling against your own dietary systems and just rebelling against set routines, because you guys would definitely struggle with setting routine and actually sticking with it as much as you want to. Like it really frustrates you, because it's like suddenly you'll change your mind about something and then your whole routine is like fucked. Like especially sleep routine, you know, you've been going really well for like a week, you've been waking up nicely, doing your morning routine, and then the next week it changes suddenly type shit, you know. But that also goes for your health as well, which is why I would say drink your water, eat your vegetables, go for a walk or jog, and just help minimize the damage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway, moving on to Mars and Aquarius in the 7th house now. Mars is also debilitated in the 7th house. So this is for all Leo risings. So, okay, you would also have Uranus here for people born in my generation. Uranus in your 7th house. So sudden ups and downs in your relationships. But also Mars would be here. Yo, fuck. Okay, I actually want to say people with Leo rising born in my generation, like, and I have a friend, a Taurus friend, who has a Leo rising, and she's been dating this Gemini dude for like more than 3 years now, and they're going strong. But I would imagine that there's like, okay, obviously every relationship has ups and downs, but I feel like in their relationship there's like sudden things, like sudden quick shifts. But I would say, like, especially if you're not dating, like people who aren't dating with Leo risings born in my generation, like you guys, cause see, Leo risings, how do I say this? Or maybe it's a thing of like you guys could even be in a relationship, and then all of a sudden, like after how many weeks, like your partner just suddenly breaks up with you. Like they suddenly, actually, yeah, I want to say that like every relationship, even partnership you have, like even if it's like work related, you know, like something happens where the relationship has to come to an end quickly, and like you don't expect it as a Leo rising, you don't expect it. But a lot of even like maybe not like it broke up suddenly, like it could be a thing of you guys suddenly were dating, like it happened very suddenly, like sudden interaction, sudden romance, and then you guys were suddenly like, I've said suddenly so much, it's such a weird word now, but you guys like are dating now all of a sudden. Wow, Wow, what a weird word. But yeah, that's what happens, you know. In the 7th house, shit. It must be hectic. It must be so hectic. But you guys definitely deal with people who are eccentric and weird people. People who just like also detached. Like you guys usually attract those people. But I feel like with Mars here, they could be very detached, but they could also be people who you trigger them to be kind of aggressive. Not like on purpose. It could be a thing of like you trigger them not knowing that you're triggering them, and then all of a sudden they just like have random outbursts of anger. You know, these are the kind of people that you attract. I have Mars in the 7th house. It's not nice having Mars in the 7th house, guys. It's just you attract narcissistic, violent motherfuckers who, quite frankly, probably have grown up in violent homes as well. But you, as a Leo rising, you have attracted this too. You attract these kinds of people. But it's also weird because like sudden, it's like a thing of like one day they're really nice, another day they're just unpredictable with their moods. You know, they're not stable with their moods. They're not consistent with their moods, so they also like confuse you as well, and it's just like confusing. And a lot of the times you could also have like divorces, sudden divorces. Once again, sudden breakups, things just don't work out, and you didn't see it coming. Zit that baboop. You know, so just be careful with the people that you choose. Could also, once again, it could be a thing of maybe, you know, you don't attract these people, but you become like this when you are in relationships. You know, like you become very aggressive and mean and cold and wishy-washy whenever you're in a relationship. You know, you become unpredictable with your moods when you're in relationships with people, and it's like, what? And the people that you are dating like look at you like, bitch, this is not gonna work out. And then they break up with you suddenly, you know, because you are inconsistent with your moods, and then you don't see that shit coming. You know, anyway, moving on to Mars and Aquarius in the 8th house. 8th house deals with your inheritance, your shared assets, things that you desire, you know, your desires, things that you crave so deep in your heart. It deals with, again, inheritance, how you deal with trauma, how you deal with chaos, how you deal with crisis, you know. So having Mars and Aquarius in the 8th house as a Cancer rising, Mars loves to be in the 8th house. So generally how you deal with, I don't know, Cancer risings, when they're upset, they just leave. I've noticed that Cancer risings don't stay, they just leave. Like how you deal with turmoil is to just exit the situation so you can cry and, you know, be in your emotions alone. But you don't like when other people do this, and when other people do that, you don't fuck with that. But yeah, I feel like having Aquarius in the 8th house makes you guys perverts. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the epidemic that is you bitches, you perverted motherfuckers. Anyway, Mars and Aquarius in the 8th house are very perverted. Yeah. But also okay, because you know 8th house is home. Yeah, Mars is home in the 8th house, so you guys are very in tune with your senses, your what's this, undercurrent senses. So you guys are analytical enough to know what people are really hiding, but it's also like you can sense it, you know, but it hits your mental first. Like you know exactly how to analyze somebody because you've obviously encountered many different people in your life to know what people are about, you know, because it's a pattern. But it's also a thing of you can sense it too, you know when people are trying to pull a doozy on you, you know, just based on how their eyes are moving, the energy that they're giving you, how they're asking you specific questions, you know, their movement while they're asking you specific questions. These are all things that you've analyzed throughout your life, you know. Even when you were younger, you can kind of sense it. Maybe not to the greatest degree as you would, obviously, when you grow up, because age brings wisdom, but with wisdom you kind of just know. But also with this, makes you, as I said, super perverted, but extremely experimental with sex, probably into BDSM. Definitely into BDSM. Definitely 100% into BDSM, sex toys. In fact, you guys are probably a lot more what's this, you prefer toys over like actual human interaction like that, because machines can, you know, do a whole bunch of other things. Technology can robots. Robots can do a lot more than humans can do, so you prefer that, but generally, like, when you guys get angry, it's also OD angry. But I feel like you probably be a lot more prone to walk away from a situation, unless you're a Leo moon, then you probably won't. Okay, and then Mars and Aquarius in the 9th house. So 9th house deals with, higher education, people's ethnicities, the different ethnicities and the different cultures that we have. Even low-key, the different countries that we have, the different traditions that we have all over the world. It deals with, college, university, higher education, but also spiritual education, so learning about Reiki and all that shit. Philosophy, and then long distance travel, overseas type shit. So I'm having Mars in Aquarius in the 9th house. This is somebody, I feel like with you guys are very non-monogamous, I would say that. So even having Uranus in the 9th house, yeah, I feel like your belief systems change a lot. They change way more frequently than the average Aquarius placement person. But you are very philosophical and you love preaching, and like you probably be like me right now. You like me, like we teach people about like different things, but also because Aquarius rules over the occult, so you will bring occult practices with philosophy. So you guys love that kind of thing, and you guys love traveling just so you can learn about different ethnicities, but just so you can also add on to the wisdom and the knowledge that you already have, so you'll go travel the world just so you can like speak to different people. Like, okay, it's because you already know how to socialize with people, right? You already know you analyze people, so you know how people operate, but you just like to go to different countries to learn about their like, for example, let's say you're South African. You've studied people in South Africa, you know how people are in South Africa, so you've analyzed how people are, right? But then you'll travel the world in order to, I guess, collect more data to already add on to the knowledge and the wisdom that you have already about cultures, different people, how people interact, just so you can come back and like talk about it because you like talking about that shit. So you would be like, what, a Gemini rising with this, and like you super cool, like very super interactive, very sociable person, but I also think this also makes you very condescending, a condescending little fuck you are. What was I gonna say about this placement? I just genuinely feel like you like like those backpackers. I feel like you were probably a backpacker with this placement. You're a backpacker. You just like travel, very cool person, very experimental too. You're probably a lot more keen to date people, especially if you're a boy, like a guy with this. Girls too, but I feel like girls would apply a lot more if it was Aquarius Venus in the 9th house. But it could be either way, but you guys like dating people from different ethnicities. You prefer people from different ethnicities. You prefer people who come from different cultures, just so you can always, because you like unfamiliarity. Like, what turns you on is unfamiliarity, just knowing that you're around people that don't share the same background as you in terms of culture. You like that's your cup of tea. You're just passionate about travel and learning, like just learning about the unfamiliar parts of the world, just through travel. That's word. Mars and Aquarius in the 10th house. So 10th house deals with your career, your public persona, how people see you, how people perceive you in the public, your long-term goals, and how you choose to achieve how you choose to achieve the status quo of whatever goals that you have. So having Aquarius in the 10th house for Taurus rising. Aquarius, Mars is exalted in the 10th house, right? So you guys, once again, are super passionate about your goals, and a lot of the times, like, Miley Cyrus is a Taurus rising, right? But she doesn't have Uranus, she doesn't have an Aquarius Mars. But if we can see like how she's perceived, like her public persona has changed so much over the years since she was young. Yes, she's a Scorpio moon as well, and that also adds that, but just generally, like, your public persona as a Mars and Aquarius in the 10th house, your public persona changes so much. But it's like, whatever it is that you're passionate about, like, it's like you already super smart enough to know how to network with different people who are also popular and who are also very respected in the public. Like, for example, Miley Cyrus already had her father, Billy Ray Cyrus, to hook her up, aka that was a connection, to hook her up so that she can be in Hannah Montana. So you guys were probably also like fortunate enough to be in a situation like that. Maybe not as big as Miley Cyrus's story is, but there's always a situation where maybe your father could hook you up, and then your father is an influence in the passion that you have and the drive that you have to succeed. Like your dad or the male figures in your life could be a motivating factor for you to continue going, and then they would introduce you to different people in your life who can also add into you doing what you have to do to succeed, and who help you be stable in terms of longevity type shit. Or maybe it's not your dad, but like Aquarius type people that you encounter, like these are the kind of people that could also be on the internet. Like, you could be friends with somebody and then you associate with them and they can hook you up with views. Like, singers, they could be like an underground singer and they do a feature with Drake, and then Drake gives them all these views type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of thing. But you generally, because you also have Uranus, people born in my generation, you also have Uranus in the 10th house. So I'll say your public persona changes a lot. Once again, like, even your goals could change a lot. Like, you could abandon your goals, you could abandon the intention that you had to achieve a goal just to start a new goal type shit. Could go either way. But as far as your passions, like, you are very passionate, you are very goal driven. It's just sometimes procrastination can get in the way of your shit, and also the fact that you change your mind a lot, and the fact that you may struggle with committing to things, even though you were Taurus rising, so your personality and you're personally very rooted and stable. But like, you could have you're just scattered, especially if you have a Sag moon with this, bro. Like, you could have so many passions, but like sometimes you won't necessarily finish one because you will be bored with something and then you want to start something new, kind of thing. So yeah. And then moving on to Mars and Aquarius in the 11th house. So this is the double emphasis of Aquarius energy, because we all know Aquarius is ruled by the 11th house. So having Mars and Aquarius in the 11th house tells me that you are somebody who has changed so many friend groups. Like, you have been in so many friend groups in your life, and they all ended because of what? Like, jealousy, backstabbing, because groups of friends could be like catty because like there's already duos in groups. And then some duos don't like one person, but they'll be friendly and catty and backstabby. Like, you probably have been in situations like that. So that's why you like also friend group hop. You've been in many friend groups. Maybe like, yes, okay, you've been in many friend groups, but like now you kind of know how to keep people at an arm distance. Like, still be friendly, but keep people at an arm distance, Know, like, okay, we're cool. But this is for all Aries risings, by the way. Like, yeah, we're cool, but you're over there and I'm over here, we're chilling. If we're together, we'll be cool, but as far as like us being close and telling each other secrets, we're not gonna do all that. But it's like, how to, like how much to give to yourself in friend groups. How, especially because you've been through so many of these experiences where like you've been betrayed by friends, or you've been isolated, ostracized, humiliated, embarrassed by the people in your friend group, whatever, exposed, maybe even online. Like, maybe you could be the type of person like you were cyber bullied online. Like, you were the person, like, it would have been your 13th reason, you know what I'm saying, because it was like some bullying on the internet type shit. Like, you experienced cyber bullying, definitely. But I feel like you guys are also the engineers, and as far as like you being angry, I feel like your fuse is unpredictable, but it takes a lot. Like, if somebody was directly, deliberately trying to provoke you, you'd probably just dip. You'd probably just leave the situation as a whole and not, give it too much power or whatever. But yeah, I feel like you guys are, you've been around a lot of people your whole life, and there's always been like an aggressive, jealous kind of volatile thing. Like, maybe because you're so cool, people also may have just used you because you have clout, or maybe you were the one using people because they had clout. Who knows, but there was a lot of using for selfish purposes. A lot of we're just hooking up so I can get what you get. I can get the friends, or I can connect with the friends that you have. not necessarily be friends with you. I just like the people you hang out with, so I'm gonna use you as a gateway to get in there. Or maybe you're the one doing that, you know. It could also be you both, you encounter these situations and you also the one doing that too, you know, type of vibe. But either way, lots of that. Selfish friend groups, people using each other. Otherwise, like if you are like in a group project, like let's say you work for Google or something, like a lot of the times people may view you as somebody that they should target so that they can fire you because maybe you're smart or something, jealousy, catty type shit like that. Or maybe you're the one, like you work for Google, for example, you have a hard time getting along with your other co-workers, you know. So then you could choose to be like Elon Musk, and then you become the inventing person, you know, because you guys are very smart and genius with this placement. Definitely 100%. Okay, and then moving on to Mars and Aquarius in the 12th house, last but not least. So 12th house deals with your imagination, you know, your dreams, illusions, fantasies, everything unconscious, things that you are not aware of. And spirituality, how you emotionally connect to the collective conscious, but also how you emotionally connect to God, you know, the universe. So definitely with this, I feel like you passion, like you love to fantasize about your dreams, like you violently daydream all the time, you know, especially when you're drunk, like, which is when you can reenact these fantasies, but you violently imagine things, you know. And you don't like when people kind of take you out of that state. Like, that's aggravating when people take you out of your dreamy state for what? Pisces rising. Yeah, Pisces rising. So you don't like when people take you out of your imaginative state. That makes you angry. That aggravates you. You know, that pisses you off when people kind of want to bring you down to reality, because you like staying that. Like, that's how you manifest your shit. You violently manifest. You violently daydream your goals and your dreams, you know. And I also feel like with this, it could also make you somebody who struggles with addiction, especially, you know, Pisces rising, Neptune in the first house. I have Neptune in the first house. I know us. And now my rising sign has progressed into Pisces anyway. So fighting addiction, like you could be mad addicted to shit. But also know that Aquarius energy is very obsessive. So whenever you do get into shit, especially because if you ever get into substance abuse, it'll be because you were in the friend group that was doing that. Like your friend group was doing meth, so then you were like, fuck it, you know, I'm with the homies. And then they get you into that shit, you know. But once you do get into it, doesn't even have to be that. They can introduce you into some spirituality, you know, some artistic Basquiat type shit, and you love putting yourself in that imagination, you know. And then you don't like when people try to get you out of that, and then you turn into Kendrick Lamar and you're like, bitch, don't kill my vibe, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. But yeah, you guys just like, you like to manifest that. You guys are very spiritual people, you know. You're very imaginative. You could be agnostic, atheist with this placement. I know Aquarius placements could be like that. Or you could just have a very unique spiritual practice, you know, a very interesting spiritual practice that you could either choose to start a YouTube channel and teach other people with that, or you have some kind of Instagram, TikTok where you express your spirituality and your dreams and your imagination. But also being a Pisces rising, you probably would be really great at acting, because you guys could be, imagine Aquarius in the 12th house, but also having a Pisces rising, you guys are really great at acting. So you guys know how to like imagine yourself being a specific person and then really reenact that, and like really even in your face have like specific mannerisms and like facial expressions and whatever to mimic whatever character you are portraying in. Oh wait, that's my bro. You know, just portray whatever character you are, you know, trying to convey in that moment, you know, kind of thing. But as far as you guys, your passions, like you are just very imaginative. You love being in your dream world and imagining shit, you know, and you're not really trying to be in anybody's face, but you don't want anyone to be in your face or your space. You don't really, it's like you like being around other imaginative, fantasizing, delusional people, because you know they kind of match that frequency where you guys like to, where you can both imagine shit together and you can put yourself in their shoes and they can put themselves in your shoes, and then essentially create a dream or a fantasy that you guys can step into whenever you're together, you know. But also kind of if you guys are apart, because I know Aquarius is still detached, so whenever you're detached, you know, like, okay, I know what you're thinking and you know what I'm thinking, so even if we can be in our own little imaginative spaces, when we're together and like we're choosing to create our fantasy space, we're doing that, you know. But you're not taking me out of my imaginative space, and I'm not taking you out of your imaginative space, you know. We can just vibe, chill, cool vibes, you know. You like that kind of shit, that's your vibes. And then yeah, that's that. So guys, okay, we're done with Mars and Aquarius, thank God. Yo, I'm tired. Hey, this series is hectic. But anyway, my last video will be on Friday. Probably on Friday, maybe tomorrow, but probably Friday. And then that'll be my last video ever for Mars series. Yay. Oh my god, so fun. Great. Okay guys, thank you for the video. If you want a reading, thank you for watching the video. If you want a reading, hit me up. I'm really tired now. It's like almost 12 midnight. But anyway guys, I'll see you in my next video, Mars and Pisces. And we out. Thank you. Mwah.